right. There we go. Okay, hello everybody. Today's Tuesday, September 21st, and this is Between Two Teachers. We are bringing you information about education nationally and locally, and our call to actions as well. So my name is Consuelo Lara.
And I'm Madeline Cronenberg. And we greet you today. This will be our last episode in the year 2021, which has been a historic year in many, many ways. And certainly that includes education. This is a year where folks began in many cases in quarantine and fought their way out of isolation and distance learning. Anyhow, as we do every week, I'm Madeline Cronenberg, and I want to read our land acknowledgement. We pause to acknowledge that we are gathered on the ancestral territory of Huichin, part of the unceded land of the Chochenyo and Karkan-speaking Muwekma Ohlone people. We remember their continued connection to this region and thank them for allowing us to work, learn, and pray on their traditional homeland. We offer our respect to their elders and all Ohlone people of the past, present, and future. And with that, we talk about what is going on in education. And it's interesting. Nationally, I mean, what we have now, this is the moment when the Omicron virus is back, and actually in Europe, where it's really taken over, where they hadn't closed the schools, they have closed some schools. And it's the holiday time. Some of them were going to be closed anyway, but some of them got closed earlier. Even in Denmark, which is incredibly vaccinated, has all of these things in place, but this virus is unremitting and is incredibly contagious. And right now they are shut down. Britain is about to be shut down. France is about to go possibly into another complete lockdown. It's a very difficult time yet again. And it brings up all the issues around vaccines and masking, which are what have become a centerpiece to American education. Something we never thought we would have to spend a lot of time on, but yet we do. And in California, we still have the coronavirus vaccine has been added to the requirements for students entering starting in July 1st. So that's a deadline, that's a statewide deadline that was able to be established in Sacramento. That deadline was accelerated by some districts, and Oakland did, Hayward did, Los Angeles did, but Los Angeles lifted theirs because they felt that they had a high enough vaccination rate. That was essentially what they said. And so they lifted this, the mandate and the requirement that everybody be done by a particular date. And some of the districts, Hayward, for example, had a mandate, but they also had if you are not vaccinated, we will go ahead with testing. Yes. Have a very robust testing. So that didn't mean that if you were not vaccinated, you would have to go into an alternative distance learning type of setting or a virtual setting. And so that was successful for them. They're able to go ahead with theirs. Mm-hmm. Other districts, West Contra Costa, which we're most familiar with, had instituted one where they want families to in fact be vaccinated by January 3rd. And if they were not fully vaccinated by January 3rd, they would be ineligible for in-person classes. Mm-hmm. But that meant that their vaccine status, the vaccination card also had to be uploaded to a state server, a state portal. Yep. So it had to be scanned and you go through a process to upload. Turns out that this is a difficult thing to get everybody to complete.
Yeah.
Right. And they're not going to make the deadline. And so we're not sure what will happen, you know, where they will be. Many efforts, they're making many efforts to do outreach to the community and to see whether or not the high number of students who have not been able to upload, whether or not the issue is being able to upload. You know, they're vaccinated, but they just haven't been able to upload that card, or they're not vaccinated.
Yeah, yeah. And, you know, it's too bad people are thinking vaccination or testing. It sounds like people are thinking that they have to go hand in hand. You know, you can't let go of that testing. That testing is still, and some teachers I know have been saying that, hey, what happened to the testing we were all supposed to have all the time? And because they want kids tested, they want everybody to be tested, vaccinated or not, because
Right,
you don't know, you know.
right.
As to that process, did they offer training? No, they didn't. So that's what's missing there. They've got to provide some training for that process.
Right. And what sometimes happens is, from the perspective of the folks making these decisions, some things are very easy and obvious to people who have a lot of access to technology and also access to bandwidth and time to do an unusual process, you know, an interest in a new kind of process, like uploading a scanned vaccine card into the internet. It's not something everybody is going to feel comfortable doing or know how to do or have time to do.
Yeah. So there's that
Right.
gap again, that divide, you know, and that's what this is. So any data, how accurate can it be? You know, how reflective is it of the true picture? We don't know. Maybe it's
No,
close, but
no,
there's too many variables, too many.
right. And what happened, and you know, when we step back and look at all the districts who made efforts to do this, the one and only district that I know of that was completely successful was Piedmont,
Oh, yeah.
because they have exactly what you need. They have a very affluent community who have no problem. Oh, sure, we can do that very quickly because we have the ability to do it. Right. And it just shows, okay, on one end, there are groups of people that have the ability to do that, but we knew that to begin with. And to expand that to larger communities that are diverse communities, you really have to have an ability to offer multiple kinds of support in multiple languages and all of the outreach you need to do to all of your families.
So it is
So
possible to do this.
yeah, it's not as easy as everybody thinks.
Yeah.
It's not just it is it's complicated. And now you have a different variant. And then there's also the whole thing about at-home testing.
Yes, the rapid tests. Yes.
Marin is giving rapid tests to their families.
Oh, wow.
Marin County.
Yes, yes.
Now that's a county school board decision.
Wow. Well, Marin County has always been, they're highly vaccinated over there, and they have been from the beginning. So that does not surprise me at all.
No. So they're around here. They are the leaders in saying, oh, of course we'll do that.
Yeah.
Then and we trust our families aren't going to send somebody sick to school.
Yes.
Right. So if you have the sniffles or if you have an allergy, if we've tested you before at home and we know we gave him a test and we know he's not positive, he can go to school.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Ever
So that's,
changing. Yeah. Ever changing. Everything.
right.
changes.
And I think today they're going to start talking about, the president is going to give access to those tests. But I think we're going to get to the point where everybody's taking them all the time.
Yes. All right.
Because that's seems to be the way we beat it.
We got to do it.
So there's that. And then the other two things I just wanted to mention with West Contra Costa was that this was the week that we had the change in leadership. So President Phillips ended his term as president, and there was a vote. And normally our clerk, Ms. Smith Folds, would have according to the bylaws, been the person who would have moved up. But as it worked out, trustee Christian, trustee O3 Christian is now the new board president, and trustee Gonzalez Hoy is the new board clerk.
Mhm.
So that is where they are.
Yeah.
And
To them both. And
absolutely.
And at the county level, our new board president is Sarah Butler, and I am the new vice president.
Yes.
So I'm really looking forward to that. Looking forward to working with Sarah. It's just, I see good things happening. So yeah, a lot of change of leadership here.
Absolutely. Right. And then the other thing that came up in West Contra Costa was a look into the budget. And the budget issues right now are very serious, and that there had been an error made in a previous report given by the last budget officer, chief budget officer, who failed to give a complete accounting. And the consequence of that was that he made a recommendation for a certification that was not accurate. And really the certification for the budget needs to be negative. And there are a number of reasons for this. One of them is the declining enrollment, which in fact does come from the growth of charter schools. That's part of that. And and that was listed, and we've talked about that here before. There's no question that there is a distinct connection between the growth of the charter schools and declining enrollment. There was also a decline in the percentage of children who fit into the category, the unduplicated category. So that's the lower income, basically it's low income English language learners, free and reduced lunch. That percentage has gone down to 60% from 76. The big difference that has a gigantic financial implication for the district that hadn't been calculated before. So there are a lot of moving parts there. The other thing was they have to have a better handle on position control, knowing who they've hired and where the folks that they're hiring are being budgeted from. And that's another set of issues that the new interim CBO is looking at. And he's being assisted by someone who I recall very well, who served as one of the district's trustees when it was under a state receivership, Miss Linda Grundhofer. And Miss Grundhofer, the West Contra Costa had two trustees in its basically 20 years of having a trustee. And so the trustee came in 91, and the first trustee was Fred Stewart. And Fred Stewart served until 2006. And when I got elected, and literally when I was elected in 2006, he ended his term, and Ms. Grundhofer came in as the state trustee. We got out of the state receivership, no longer had state receivership, and now she is a consultant. She's retired from FCMAT. She's a consultant, and so she has come in as a consultant to assist Mr. McIntyre, the new interim CBO. And so there's the history. But what was interesting to me is I don't know how many people remember who Ms. Grundhofer was.
It was after the big bankruptcy, right? That was after the big bankruptcy, and only people who were there. I mean, I came here in 1999 or 98, and they were still talking about it and still feeling the it was
a gigantic change. I mean, as much as it was interesting during this year when folks are saying goodbye at the end of the year and making their comments, they were saying this is the worst year the district ever had. It's not the worst year the district ever had.
No,
not in this district. But but they weren't here. So it's all about history and what history you remember.
A lot
But
of
anyway, it was interesting to me that Miss Grundhofer has returned. And so she can bring her institutional knowledge of the system, because she certainly had an opportunity to develop that knowledge while she was here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Okay,
Yeah.
right.
So that's the West Contra Costa news. The final thing I wanted to do for us this year is give a shout out to all of these teachers who are fighting the battle against critical race theory, and the battle to be sure that children across America are in fact told the American story, the whole American story, warts and all, so that we can understand it and grow from it, and not be protected from the truth. And right now, today, or this week, there's the beginning of what I'm sure, I hope doesn't happen, but I think will, and that is the firing of teachers across the country who are in states where they have passed laws limiting what teachers can teach. And so this is in Tennessee, but it's going to happen in other states too.
Sure.
And I'm going to post this. This is a teacher, a 16-year tenured high school teacher in Sullivan County, Tennessee. And his name is Matthew Hahn. And I'll put the links to this, and I will put this on our Facebook page and our Twitter page so that we can all support Mr. Hahn. And please do it, because whether at least we need to make the statement that what has happened to Mr. Hahn is really, really wrong. And this school board has done a really bad thing. Now I'll just quickly read this to you. On May 5th, the same day that the Tennessee legislature passed its current anti-CRT bill into law, tenured social studies teacher Matthew Hahn was fired from Sullivan Central High School for discussing racism in his contemporary issues class. What happened to him is a disturbing trend of what is sweeping the nation at an alarming rate. The right wing is so desperate for power, they have been threatening, reprimanding, and firing educators who insist on teaching the full history of this country. The Sullivan County Board of Education voted to uphold the termination at his appeal hearing on December 14th, which is why we're talking about it now. It was still under appeal.
Yeah.
So there's a petition that you can sign supporting Mr. Hahn and demanding his reinstatement. And it's worth doing, because this is the beginning of a battle. We've talked here about ethnic studies. This is the opposite. This is ethnic cleansing of history curriculum.
It is. It's absolutely. And it just shows, support of this. And we need to create this movement against this kind of thing. It's wrong. It's unjust.
It's here. This movement is, we just need to all join.
Yes. Yes.
We need to join. We need to join it, and people need to know it's worth it to do it. I mean, why would you not join it?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, there's no way that this is a school board that made a big mistake, and which shows that nobody had the courage, or they all agree. They all agree that children should not have the opportunity to discuss racism in class. The teachers should not.
Yeah. Or they were all threatened, because we know there's a lot of violence going on out there,
All of those things are true.
Okay.
Right. So that's where we're leaving
Yes.
2021. Let us support, reinstate Matthew Hahn now. That's the title of the Color of Change petition.
Good. Good. Okay.
Okay. So with that, that's a wrap for 2021.
Yes.
It's been a big year.
Yeah.
Our vice president of the county board is here with us. Next year, when we're doing this, you'll be president.
Oh my goodness. Yes, I
But
will.
it's a great year I'm sure it'll be a great year for the board. I know that President Butler will do great
Oh.
thing.
Absolutely. We'll be reporting so many good things happening at the
Right.
county, for sure.
Absolutely. And working with President Kushner,
Yes, absolutely. That will be great.
it will be great.
We will.
All right. So
Okay.
till next year, we'll see you in January.
All right.
Bye-bye from Between Two Teachers.